G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company down under in New Zealand. I don't think I can hammer home enough. These engines are old and they need to be prepared properly and looked after properly, either if you're using them in your factory car or if you're preparing them to fit into another car. Or if you're preparing them to fit into another car in an engine swap. I hear lots of things with these engines, like guys will tell me it's only done 100,000 Ks. This engine beside me probably done about 100,000 Ks. And let's look inside the oil pan. Check that out. Check that out. I've already cleaned this engine and it's looking a lot better. And the other thing I hear guys tell me is it came out of a running car. All of these cars ran when they came out of the factory. Maybe not all of them. I did meet a guy the other day whose job is to get all the cars running that don't run when they come out of the factory. But after that, they all run. And they've been running on the road for 25 to 30 years, a lot of them. Even your VVTIs in 2000 have been around for 20 years. Again, came out of a running car. Oh, look down here. Look down there. I can dig down there. I am really regretting putting my finger in and not putting gloves on. I just need to go wash my hands and I shall return. One of the very first things that I do when I'm working on these engines and getting them ready is I strip them all to bits, like the one behind me. That's how far down pretty much every engine that I get comes down when I'm doing a prep job. And it doesn't bother me whether it's a standard car, like the repair I've just done on the UCF20, the Sora I'm about to repair. For some guys will know it as an SC400. This one, going into a jet boat, is a Lamborghini engine, 1UZ. There's a 1UZ over there out of a Lamborghini engine. I'll be sorting that, or any other job that I do. They all get stripped down and checked because the rubber components are all getting old. Just think about it. So we take rubber components, seals, injector seals, rubber. We have them with oil. We expose them to oil, petrol, atmosphere, and look what they end up like. Rubber. Rubber. Well, that one's got some suppleness, but it's splitting to pieces. Hard, yuck, horrible. So I strip it to bits. Oil pump off. So I can change the O-ring in there. Rear main seal. Tappet covers off. Any sensors that are suspicious. This is blamed for so many things. I have bugger all problems with them. But I change probably about 50 a year. And I'm not changing them because they're stuffed, they're discoloured, and they're horrible. But I'm changing them to prevent problems. And these cars can be super reliable, and these engines can be super reliable if they're looked after properly and they're cared for and loved. All the same principles I would apply to something like this old thing. 84 Hilux. It came in, wasn't running, some points, yes, I do remember what points are. It actually had broken the wire from the points, so I repaired that. These points, they're cracked, they're falling apart. I'll get it out. So these points, the wire here had broken. So I gave it a quick solder to get it running. You can see this, the strap there is cracked, it's going to break. It had a bit of a stopping problem, so in this case it was in the carburetor. And in this case, like another question I was asked today, should I use some silicone on my oil pickup? No. We don't want silicone coming loose and getting into that oil pump, going through the oil galleries, getting stuck in the bearings. Just like this one. I didn't want silicone in the carburetor, but someone had put it in there, and it took me 2 goes to get it all out this time, which was a real pain in the backside. Though, you know, when you're a kid and at kindergarten you have to learn to use scissors, they should say, hey, one day you might be a mechanic and you have to make gaskets for carburetors. So I just made a top gasket, got it going again. It was a holiday, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I wanted the vehicle running. Bam, gasket made, runs sweet. Hey, and points are great, aren't they, for if you're in the back blocks, you can repair them. I can put a whole ignition system as a spare. Check this out too. Bench seat, Mrs. can cuddle up. Woo. And when your Mrs. has been cuddling up too much and you produce a little one, Mrs. can go over there and the little one can go there. And when you've filled up the left-hand side with crap, you can put all the crap on the back. Awesome. When I'm doing a prep job, I want it to be right. And guys often ask me, how do I get them clean? And this one was pretty corroded. It was a lot worse than it is now. But I've got a series of chemicals that I use. So I've got just a good general purpose degreaser. That one's fantastic. I've got this one, AL18. So AL18 is acidic aluminium cleaner. Another one that will work really well is a mag wheel brightener. So that often works really well on the alloy blocks. Once I've put an acid over them, I actually need to neutralize the acid. And I'm using this one, an Enviro cleaner. It's just a general purpose, that's a concentrate, biodegradable cleaner, works really well. So that one, any good quality general purpose cleaner is generally pretty good. But find something that's available from wherever you're from. The other tools, a brush, and I've got a series of toothbrushes. This one's probably not good on your teeth because it's a stainless steel wire brush. But you get in there, Armstrong, scrubbing, cleaning. Myself, I'm not a big fan of painting everything on the engine. A lot of guys like them painted. So clean it, get all that oil and crap off, and then paint it. I've had to paint the bell housing on this one. It was too far corroded, and it's come up all right. And the intake manifold and tappet covers are getting painted. As you might see, it's got some different exhaust manifolds. It's because it's going into a boat. So I will be doing a little bit of footage on that. I've got some coil-on plugs to go in it. These are Yaris ones, and you'll see that they don't actually fit until they're modified. And that intake, not actually going on this job. I was doing a bit of checking this morning just to see how it fitted, coming up with an idea, and I'll be doing a video solely on that manifold. But I even got out my inspection camera to have a look down there. The intake manifold for this job has already had injector seals and been prepped, ready to fit. And while I'm prepping the engines, I'm thinking about starter motors, alternators, power steer pumps. This one doesn't need a power steer pump because it's going in a boat. Hydraulic fan pumps, done a video on that as well. So if you're not sure what that unit on the front is, check out those videos. Of course, you guys with the LS400s don't have a hydraulic fan. This particular job is getting a whole new wiring loom as well. I did just recently refab a wiring loom off an LS400 to bring it back up to standard, because these plastic clips are going to break. Oh, they're already broken. This one's normally broken too. Oh, there it is. Didn't take much and that snapped. I think it's absolutely crazy when I hear guys tell me that they're not going to take the wire-anglium off because the clips are going to break. I'm taking them off because they do break, and then I can replace them and make the vehicle reliable. So future servicing and future problems are easier to solve. Then starter motors, if you have a failure, I had one, the knock sensors, just after putting it all back together, knock sensors were buggered. Just one of those things. So I had to lift the intake manifold again. It didn't take long. If that vehicle had the standard unrepaired loom on it, all the clips would have broken. That's a pain, but it wasn't an issue. I just popped the manifold off, unclipped everything, put it back together. Once you've got your engine prepped, you can of course then good quality oil, and it's going to stay cleaner because it's not full of crap. You remember that stuff in the sump. That's disgusting. It was a running engine, 100,000 Ks, but it still had a big build-up of crap in the sump. It just builds up over the last 25 years. In fact, this one's longer because it's a UCF10, very early UCF10 engine. And by preparing them properly, you reduce the chances of things going wrong. Then keep good oil in them. Make sure you check the oil. Change it regularly. Make sure you've got an oil light. I had a customer ring me up recently, or message me, and he told me his engine had exploded. It had locked up a bearing on the crank. The car had been started, been to the dyno, tuned on the dyno, and then a couple of weeks later it had failed as he drove home from work. I asked him about the oil light and found that he didn't have one. It's just asking for trouble. If your oil light comes on, turn the engine off. Find out what's going on. Do not drive that car. Do not drive it home. So as I said at the beginning, prep those engines properly. Spend the time, set them up, and get a good, reliable engine, serve you well, and run for a long time to come. These things can go a heap of Ks. 500,000 Ks, no problem. And these guys telling me they've got half a million miles. Awesome. Going great. So look after them, and they'll look after you. Hope that was helpful. Talk to you again soon. brushes, clean engine. Let's put this thing together. It's not this intake either. It's going. Good g'day guys, it's Calvin from the Coaching Company down under in New Zealand. Just gone over part 1 of engine prep, saying how important it is. We're actually going to prep this engine right now.